Hey guys, welcome back to the Turnbuckle Tavern YouTube page, and today is our first episode of NWA Powerrr Trip.
POWERRR Trip.
This is going to be a weekly YouTube only show that we come up with you on Tuesdays, and we're going to cover NWA because they are back.
How long have we been talking about wanting them back, Sneed?
It's been a long, it's been since COVID started.
I mean, when did they did the, what was it? The Hard to Kill.
Yeah.
Was it Hard to Kill?
No,
Hard Times.
Hard Times.
I'm sorry. Impact's Hard to Kill. They did Hard Times. And I'm pretty sure like right after that, they shuttered their doors.
Yeah. Right after that, that was the last thing that we saw from them. We had no more power. We saw a lot of stars. I mean, a lot of these guys didn't have work. And, and that was the case for everybody at that time. But then other people started opening back up. NWA stayed closed, but we saw some of their stars showing up on AEW.
Yeah, we had Thunder Rosa. They did the little alliance with United Wrestling Network where they did the Primetime Live. And Serena Deeb, who signed to AEW, ended up beating Thunder Rosa for the women's NWA Women's Championship. They had some good matches over there, but that even closed due to all the restrictions in California. And now we're on the brink of more NWA Powerrr episodes next week. And we have a big pay-per-view back for the Attack this week. But before we dive into all that stuff, we want to make sure you guys are going to Twitter and Instagram at Tbuckle Tavern on Twitter, at Turnbuckle Tavern on Instagram, and also go follow our Pod Foundation. It's a pretty awesome group to be a part of, don't you think, Sneed?
Yeah, it's an awesome group. We have us, Turnbuckle Tavern. You have the Chick Foley Show. You have Pyramid Wrestling. You have the Extra Cooler Show. All of us under one umbrella, and you're going to find all of our content if you just follow on Pod Foundation. You can find that on Instagram and Twitter. I mean, where you find us, you'll find them, and where you find them, you're going to find a lot of good content. So
yeah. I just listened to the new Extra Cooler episode. They deep dived into a Retro Mania match. I believe it was the Nasty Boys and Heart Foundation. It was an awesome episode. And the guys over at Pyramid Wrestling, for my money, and I've listened to several, but for my money, I think Pyramid Wrestling might be the best figure-centric podcast I've listened to.
Yeah.
Completely unbiased. I just think they do really good work over there.
Yeah.
So let's get into this.
First, before we move into that, also, when we're talking about Pod Foundation, you can also use code PF10 on Chalkline. So if you guys are Chalkline fans, they have a lot of cool stuff, a lot of not just wrestling stuff, but they have a lot of cool, video game, movie stuff, clothing related, and you guys can get a 10% discount by using code PF10 at checkout on us.
Yeah, I think I'm going to pull the trigger on those WrestleMania 18 shorts they just released. They're pretty sweet.
Those are pretty awesome.
They look really cool. But yeah, use code PF10 to get yourself 10% off at Chalkline. But yeah, I guess POWERRR Trip, just to explain it, where it's the first episode, we're going to come on, like Sneed said, every Tuesday night. No really set time. Once we've watched POWERRR, we'll throw a little 20-30 minute discussion about it. On our main Turnbuckle Tavern podcast, we go deep into AEW and we do a lot of Impact Wrestling.
Yeah.
So we wanted something that was more YouTube centric and to really start from the jump of this relaunch and cover everything, because the thing with NWA, and we'll go ahead and get into it, the thing with NWA right now that's so interesting to me is that they are starting with a pretty clean slate roster. I mean, we're seeing obviously Nick Aldis, Thunder Rosa, Trevor Murdoch, the Pope. There's a lot of familiar faces. We even got I think Matt Cross is still kind of a part of them. Tim Storm, obviously, who you can go in our archives and listen to our Tim Storm interview. It's one of my favorite discussions we've had with someone.
Yeah, that guy was awesome to talk to.
But, outside, and Aaron Stevens is coming back. A lot of people know him as Damian Sandow, but other than that, we're going to get a fresh roster. So that's what's exciting right now, is to see who they bring in.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, we have the Back for the Attack pay-per-view that's going to be, it's Sunday at 4 p.m. on Fight TV. Yep. That is $19.99.
$20. Yeah.
It's only $20 for the pay-per-view. Can't beat that. And then Tuesday we have NWA Powerrr coming back on, it's at 6:05 on Fight TV. Also, there's a little package, I believe, that you can get.
Well worth it. I mean,
yeah,
it's just an hour of, they had probably the strongest hour of pro wrestling pre-pandemic. I mean, it was by far one of the more entertaining hours of pro wrestling. The retro aesthetic that they bring, their emphasis on promos, the great, just straight up quality matches. It's a great show. If you're watching this, chances are you're an NWA fan. Did you see any of the recent signings, Sneed? Because they did pick up a few new people and added them to the roster, and there's a couple of them that are familiar names.
I haven't seen any real recent, not that I'm aware of. I saw some that they signed. Who do they have?
Okay, so they picked up. Remember, they picked up Tyrus. Remember Brodus Clay?
Oh yeah.
What was he a part of? What was the
Funkadactyls?
The Funkadactyls.
The Funkadactyls, and
it was
him. I know his son. It was him and
Titus.
I'm wanting to say it was him and oh my god, I don't know why I'm drawing a blank on it.
This.
Albert?
Funkasaurus. Was it Albert? I'm trying to find it, because
yeah, that's a good question.
That's when I was kind of tuned out, to be honest, of WWE.
Yeah.
Tons of funk and the Funkadactyls.
The only thing I remember is somebody call my mama.
yeah,
which was their theme song.
That was great. But yeah, anyway, they got Brodus Clay, which he's been out of the spotlight for a minute. I love how NWA grabs these names that maybe the casual fans think are just vanished and done for in the business, and they bring them back out.
Yeah.
And they're a really good company to really show that these guys still have something left in them.
I mean, obviously, we had the Rock and Roll Express were the tag team champions there.
Awesome. And it was so good. It was so well done.
Yeah. If you would have told me 15 years ago that Ricky and Robert would hold gold on a major promotion again, right, I'd be like, I don't know. I mean, they still have it in the ring, but for them to come in and win the belts, that was awesome.
Yeah. NWA does a really good job of honoring their legacy.
Yep.
And by bringing in Rock and Roll Express and giving them another title run as the tag champs, it wasn't just a gimme either. It made sense storyline wise. They made it work while still honoring the past. I thought it was very well done.
And not only did they have the gold, but Ricky had a shot at Nick Aldis's title.
Yeah, it was a great match too.
I mean, but like, come on, man. It's like Ricky's still going in there. Ricky's doing Canadian destroyers on people.
Ricky's a legend. Ricky is the man. I love Ricky Morton.
That guy is one of my favorite personalities in wrestling.
Absolutely.
And
another guy, familiar name, they signed, he goes by Chris Adonis now, but we remember him as Chris Masters, the Masterpiece.
Oh, I did hear that one.
That's very interesting, because I remember when he was in WWE, I was a big fan of him. I just thought he reminded me of like that Lex Luger narcissist type character.
The Master Lock Challenge.
Yeah, it was so good.
Yeah.
It was so good. So they picked them up. Now I'm looking at their roster, and it looks like they may have Mike Bennett, Now, Mike Bennett had a match with Nick Aldis on Primetime Live. It was a great match. They had an awesome build up to it. The video packages were incredible. I thought Mike Bennett was strictly ROH, Ring of Honor, but he is listed. So if they have Mike Bennett available to use on NWA, that's exciting because I think Mike Bennett right now looks like $1 million.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's a good pickup too. Hopefully he is there.
Yeah. And I see that they've only got 3 matches. We've got Nick Aldis going against Aaron Stevens, a singles match.
And that's for the title.
That's for the title. We have a couple, some new blood that they've brought in. We've got Crimson, Jax Dane, Jordan Clearwater, and Slice Boogie in a 4-way match.
I don't know much about Slice Boogie, but I'm 1,000% in on his name.
That name is, I'm in.
I almost don't even have to see the gimmick, and I think I want a Slice Boogie t-shirt.
Oh, I got to get a Slice Boogie t-shirt.
What a name.
I can't wait to see this guy. And I've heard great things about Crimson and Jordan Clearwater as well. And then we got Thunder Rosa and Camille in a #1 contendership match to vie for the NWA world title, women's world title.
That's held by AEW's Serena Deeb.
Yeah, and I think Serena Deeb probably would have been on this card, but I believe she's nursing an injury. I believe she had some sort of surgery, or maybe not surgery, but I believe she's nursing an injury. So it's good for them to get someone next up for her. So when she's ready to go, she has someone to feud with. Now, is there anyone that hasn't been announced, or anyone that you would really love to see pop up on NWA Powerrr when it comes back next Tuesday or moving forward? Or is there anyone who you feel like would fit the brand that NWA Powerrr is?
Look, I'm fully prepared for the heat that I'm probably going to take for this. Fully prepared for it. However, I think that 2 people that I'd like to see show up is Enzo and Cass.
Oh my God. Yeah. Yeah.
I would love to see. There's very few people now in wrestling that is as good on the stick as what Enzo is.
I can't deny that. And I would argue that those 2 guys had the biggest pop coming out of NXT onto the main roster.
Crazy.
No other NXT talent had a pop like Enzo and Big Cass.
Yeah. And I know Cass has had his problems with addiction, and he's had, I know there was an incident where he had a seizure at a show, and, that guy, but I don't know if you saw about, dude, he's shredded now.
He's shredded, and he's been silent for a while, like a year and a half, hasn't done anything. You can tell the guy has put in the work. You can see it in his eyes, that whole, Friday Night Lights, clear eye, full hearts. He's got that thing going on. That photo that came out of that indie show, I know every athlete's always like, I'm in the best shape of my life right now. I've never seen Big Cass look as shredded as he looked at that indie show.
Cass can say that right now, and he would be absolutely correct.
100%.
Yeah.
And you want to talk about, NWA is very much all about the promo.
Yeah.
You put Enzo on that set with that little NWA podium and let him run. That is a way. And no other company is like touching them right now. That is a way to bring immediate eyes to your product.
Oh, 100%. 100%. And that's why that's my top pick for who I'd like to see show up.
And the move that they made with Nick Aldis facing Aaron Stevens, who I believe is still the North American champion, the NWA North American champion. He might even be the tag champion right now. Like, dude was stacking titles. Let's see here.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm almost 100% sure he's still the
national. It's the national champion, not North American. That's NXT.
Yeah.
He lost that belt. He's not the national champion, but he is the current tag team champion with JR Kratos.
Okay.
He won that belt on from Eli Drake and James Storm on a Primetime Live episode.
Yeah.
But the thing I like about Aaron Stevens and Nick Aldis, I like that they didn't throw in a big surprise opponent for Nick in their first event back, because I feel like you want Nick to go in and get this win over Aaron Stevens, and then in the first week or two of POWERRR, bring in his next title challenger. And if we're talking about predictions, who we want to see show up in NWA POWERRR, if it's me being NWA, and people's floated this, I think Nick Aldis has even talked about this, and I think it's a match made in heaven. Bring in, rebrand, and give this guy a true way to shine. Joe Hennig, formerly Curtis Axel.
Yeah, that guy definitely needs a spot in NWA.
He fits the brand. He's third generation. You've got Larry the Axe Hennig, Mr. Perfect Kurt Hennig. You play up on his lineage. You play up on his history, that his family has such a hold in the territory system. And I think Nick Aldis and them do a very great job of honoring tradition and legacy and lineage. And if you put together just a great program and some of those hype videos of Joe Hennig against Nick Aldis, to me, you're printing money.
Yeah. Yeah, that has to happen.
Do you have any other predictions or secret desires when it comes to who you want to see on POWERRR?
I mean, nothing more crazy. I mean, I know we've talked about this on the podcast. I would like to see FTR come over and have a run at the tag team championships there.
That'd be fun.
That would be good. And that's not an impossibility from what Cody has said, because there's a quote out there where somebody had asked Cody about crossover. I mean, because we do have Serena Deeb, who's the champ. She's AEW.
Right.
And, you know, when Cody was asked about expanding the NWA crossover, that's, you know, because we've already seen Thunder Rosa come to Dynamite, you know, again, Serena Deeb holds the championship. And he said, you know, it could. And the quote says, it absolutely could. Tony really is, as he's dubbed himself, the forbidden door. If you think it's not an area where we can tread into, he finds a way to tread in there and do it peacefully and coexist well. I definitely think we'll see more cross promotion potentially with the NWA or with Impact or with New Japan or AAA or a myriad of companies. It takes trust and it takes time. And when we bring people in, we always try to treat them better than we treat our own, almost. When it comes to having guest wrestlers, our guest luminaries, our guest bookers and promoters, things of that nature. So I'm glad to see NWA still moving. Billy's still moving forward with the project, and I'm sure you'll probably see a little bit of crossover, a little bit of fun crossover.
See, that to me is great news. And honestly, it's only fair. You know, AEW has allowed NWA talent like Thunder Rosa to come onto their program and feature them. And I think now, you know, the NWA was good enough to send them Thunder Rosa, who's a monster star.
Right.
They were good enough to do that. So I think it's good. They need to return the favor and send a talent or two over to POWERRR and help POWERRR come up.
Well, I mean, we say this all the time, but what's a better way to get eyes onto your brand than to bring somebody onto another brand?
Absolutely.
It helps everybody. So I don't know why they wouldn't do that. And I could see somebody like FTR showing up, especially since they showed up on Dynamite with the actual the old school NWA tag team titles when they faced, when they had Tully facing Jurassic Express.
Yeah. And now we've got this whole new Four Horsemen-esque faction going on with FTR, and for them to go after the NWA titles, in a perfect world, Enzo and Cass have the titles. We get an FTR Enzo and Cass feud on POWERRR. How cool would that be?
I mean, I'm all about that.
And You know, someone else that I really, really want to see, and if you dive back into our archives and listen to our interview with the one called Manders, he
Yeah.
talks about before the pandemic, there was discussion between him and Power about coming onto the show. Now, to me, Manders is one of the hot young independent wrestlers out there right now. Um, he fits that Stan Hansen vibe. He's got
Oh
that
yeah.
old school vibe. He would fit so well, and his promos are really good.
Yep. Yeah, I would love to see him show, and definitely go out of your way to listen to that interview, because we did that interview at like 9:00 in the morning with him, and it was probably one of my favorite talks that we had.
Oh, he was on fire, man. He's like best friends with George Kittle, the starting tight end for the 49ers. He got his start with Big E and trained under Seth Rollins. Manders has a very incredible story, and I'm telling you, in the next few years, that kid's going to blow up.
Yeah.
Who else? I mean, there's so many people out there that they could pull. I would really, not to keep like, I feel like we're just hawking our interviews and in our archives, but another group that I would love to see on NWA Powerrr, and it's all because their matches are solid and they do killer promo work, is 4 Minutes of Heat.
Yeah. Yep. The Rock God, Ricky Gibson, get him on there, man.
Yeah. Eddie Pearl. I mean, those guys, they have great Instagram online promo content. They're hilarious. And we've seen them on UWN's Primetime Live, which had a lot of NWA performers, and there's kind of a relationship there. So I think seeing those guys pop up would be really cool.
Well, I mean, if we're going to stick with the theme of hawking old interviews and tag teams, then Waves and Curls needs to be in there too.
Exactly. That's another young team that no one's really, all the major companies send them to NWA. Those guys, Trayvon's great on the mic.
Yeah, those guys are great. They need to be there. I'll just say this, Billy Corgan, if you're listening, go back through our archives. You'll find the people that you need.
Oh yeah, VSK would be good to show up on. I just think a lot of people are like, man, they lost Ricky Starks, they lost Eddie Kingston, they lost Eli Drake, they lost James Storm. It's like, dude, there's so many good young talent out there they could pick up right now.
Right. You're there. People don't realize right before the pandemic, independent wrestling was as hot as it's ever been.
Yep. I would love to see Matt Justice. Matt Justice on there would be awesome.
Yeah.
There's so many guys.
I mean, and that's what I'm excited for with this, because they are going to expand their roster. They're going to have people showing up, and I'm pumped to see these independent guys come up.
Exactly. That's what the beauty of it is. And that's what the beauty of it was when it first started, was it was these I hate using the term no names, but for the general public, people that you hadn't heard of, like Ricky Starks. And then they kind of melded them with legends. You know, we had Rock and Roll Express show up. We had Scott Steiner show up for a little bit.
Yeah.
They were constantly pulling these old faces that you forgot of. Trevor Murdoch, they brought him out of obscurity, and he's a legit contender on Power. I think they do that really well. And that, more than anything, the matches I can't wait for, the promos I can't wait for, but the thing with NWA Powerrr, and wrestling fans love this, the surprises. I can't wait when you see that holy shit moment when someone walks out of that curtain to take the podium and cut a promo.
Yeah.
They're so good at that.
They're the best at it almost. I mean, it's so good. One thing, not to bring the mood down, but one guy that I'll definitely miss seeing on there is Question Mark.
I was going to say that, like, RIP
Josephus.
Yeah. Josephus was, I mean, his work as Josephus early on was hilarious and great. And
if they don't fly the Mongrovian flag half staff at the pay-per-view,
you have to.
They have to have the Mongrovian flag
You have to.
half staff.
Yeah, question mark. And he was real integral behind the scenes too. I heard Nick
Yeah.
Aldis talking about he was responsible for a lot of those retro commercials they had. And I mean, he's going to be sorely missed. Question mark. If you want to see what getting over is like, when that dude came out at the studios in Georgia and the crowd lost their minds.
Yeah.
I mean, this dude had the NWA faithful in the palm of his hand from the jump.
Yeah.
They loved him. You know,
Love that guy.
GPB studios went absolutely insane. It was great. Yeah, other than that, I mean, we've got Back for the Attack this Saturday on Fight TV. That's March 21st. Then following Tuesday, 6:05 on Fight TV.
2 days later, on the 23rd on Fight TV, we have POWERRR and it's back.
Yeah, I'm very, very happy to have NWA back. You guys comment and go in the comments below and tell us who do you want to see show up on NWA POWERRR?
Yeah, because here's the thing. I honestly feel like this is going to be a situation where there's guys that we're not even thinking about that when they show up, we're going to be like, oh my God, like, yeah, absolutely that guy.
Yep.
So, I mean, you know, wrestling fans know, like, they know who they want to see. Like, who would you guys want to see show up, or who should show up on NWA POWERRR?
Absolutely.
Yeah, guys. But yeah, this is going to be a show now, our POWERRR Trip show on Tuesdays. Tune in so we can give you a review of that. It's going to be YouTube exclusive. So make sure you are subscribed to the YouTube channel. Click the bell up in the corner, because that'll give you notifications when we come at you with new POWERRR Trip episodes.
Yeah, and please share the episodes. Tell people about it. Get people to come and subscribe. We want to help build the content for NWA, and we're all about just positively pushing pro wrestling that we enjoy.
Yeah, absolutely. And make sure you guys are following us on Twitter at Tbuckle Tavern, Instagram at Turnbuckle Tavern, and then follow so you can find us under the umbrella of all of our brother and sister shows at Pod Foundation. You guys enjoy the week, enjoy the pay-per-view, and we'll see you back next Tuesday. Thank you.